Well, hey, it's Huck, and I am coming to you with. I think I told you in my last video that I was going to buy a microphone for my webcam here, and I do. I have a microphone here. I'll kind of let you see what it looks like here. This is it. Looks really big from that view. This is what they call a blue Yeti Nano. So it's a little bit cheaper than the big full-size blue Yeti. I read a bunch of reviews, and this one really seemed to have the best, sound quality, even superior to the regular Yeti, which costs more. It doesn't have as many variations, as many formats that you can use, but at any rate, it's supposed to have pretty superior sound quality. So I guess this will tell. I'm not planning on making any more investments in my video productions. It's the webcam in this, but we'll find out whether or not it's worth the money. I don't like listening to a tinny voice or a voice that sounds like it's coming through a tunnel or something. So I learned early on that having a decent microphone is kind of important or people won't watch you. So hopefully this will do the trick. At any rate, I wanted to let you know that this week I've made a couple of giant leaps of faith, if you will. Now I realize that, as they say, a lot of businesses are reopening now. There's a lot of there's clearly evidence to show that that America has not properly done the things that they should have done early on to try to reduce the amount of spread of this virus. And as a result, by not doing the things that they should have done, and by not kind of going by the recommended guidelines of the CDC on what steps that should be in place before they start largely reopening the economy, if you will, reopening most businesses. I have a feeling that there are going to be some, there's going to be either some spikes in the numbers, or at least the virus is not going to go away anytime soon. It's not going to slow down. I've got the hiccups, so I apologize for that. Nevertheless, I have been spending way too much money on groceries, not because I do more grocery shopping than I normally do, but because the shopping that I have been doing has been online, for the most part being delivered to my house. And both the prices have gone up, and and there's a fee involved for this delivery. And because of my, my condition, my COPD, I have been, really afraid to go out, into any businesses and shop. Well, at any rate, it has been more than 2 months since I have seen my friend Dustin. It has been more than 2 months since I have gone to a grocery store. I broke both of those long spells this week. I got together with my friend Dustin for the first time, like I say, in over 2 months. His mom, as you might recall, I mentioned, has been ill. She was hospitalized here a couple of times here a little over a month ago. She's been home now for, I don't know, about a month, I guess. And, I know my friend Dustin has been, real careful. He doesn't go anywhere without a mask, and he doesn't go anywhere very frequently. My concern really with being with him is, his dad goes to work every day. And so he has, when his mom was in the hospital, he went a couple of times to the hospital. And, he has, gone to the pharmacy and a couple other places. So it's not like, he's got zero risk of exposure. And out of abundance of caution, I have been reluctant to go pick him up and bring him over here or do anything with him. I finally broke that, like I say, I think it was Tuesday. His father was home over the weekend because of the holiday and was also off work on Tuesday. And as of yet, his mom is still pretty weak. And for that reason, Dut, needs to be home with her when his dad is at work. He makes all her meals and makes sure that he's there for her if she needs anything. And I can certainly, understand all of that, having gone through all of that for so long with my mom. But Tuesday, like I say, was a day where we did get together. And so I was happy to, be able to spend some time with a real human being for a few hours. And then yesterday, I broke the other, long-standing rule that I've maintained for so long, which is I actually entered the local grocery store, which is just a few blocks from my house. So rather than paying the $9.95 delivery fee for the Giant Eagle orders, that frankly Giant Eagle is a little overpriced anyway, although they usually have a big selection. Whoever does the shopping for you, I don't know. They always seem to be out of a lot of things that I had on my order, and they tend to make really weird substitutions, or they make none. Either which, in either case has been pretty frustrating. So anyway, I normally when I drive by the local grocery store down the street, I have noticed that usually it's really packed. And I think during all of this, what's been going on here, since the middle or early March, if anything, it's been more busy. That parking lot is usually really full. And I've kind of been saying to myself all along that if I do go in there, not only am I going to take every precaution and wear my mask and all of that, but I'm going to try to go at a time when they're, not very busy. And it's been impossible to find a time when they're not very busy. So yesterday I went by there, I think it was around 11 a.m., and it was the least busy, really, I had seen them in a while. And I decided to go ahead and give it a go. I was probably in there for a good 20, 25 minutes, which is a pretty lengthy stay. And I think I screwed up. Nobody said anything to me, but my understanding is that they have, a course set up with arrows on the floor so that, everybody's going in the same direction and you're not running into people. Again, all very sensible rules that I would certainly have attempted to follow if I was paying any attention. For some reason, somehow, I didn't notice the markings on the floor, and so I'm pretty sure I didn't follow that. Fortunately, there was only once or twice where I think I maybe passed somebody in the aisle. But the thing that really, it was a surreal experience in two ways, though. One, they were out of a lot of things, and they weren't always the things I would have suspected. I expected them to be out of like a lot of paper products, like, I don't know, toilet paper and Kleenex and things like that. They actually had quite a bit of toilet paper, but they were all like from basically one or two manufacturers. Usually they have a whole variety of things, and then I wasn't really in the market for any toilet paper at the moment, but what they had was like a completely different brand that I've never heard of, and they had a reasonable amount of it. So that kind of caught my attention, and then it made me look around. I noticed that they there were a number of other products that they had, clearly they're getting some of their items now from new companies that they hadn't previously. And it may be because they're not able to get the supply that they normally were. But they were out of a number of items, like I say, that I would not have, expected. Like, for instance, I was looking for a can of Campbell's, I don't know if it's home style or chunky, one of those big cans just poured in a pan and heat it up type thing. I was looking for their Italian wedding soup, which, occasionally I like that. And anyway, they were all out of it. And they didn't have a single can of any of those Campbell's Homestyle or Campbell's Chunky Soups. None of them. They were out of all of them. And in fact, they have like the regular Campbell's soups, like tomato soup and chicken noodle, which were about the only two I ever usually get. But they have a whole, variety of them. And then they have those usually are about $1 a can or something, and you add a can of water to it or whatever. And then they have another kind like healthy request or something. And it's like twice as much. The same size can, but they're like $1.99. Completely out of all of those. Just out of them. So, I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me, some of the things that they were out of. I don't know. There must be a lot of people that can't cook that, go right for the soup, is what I'm thinking. Altogether, I spent, I think, $77 on groceries yesterday. I think I got that right. It was a pretty big grocery order for me. But, considering that I haven't been to a grocery store in probably 10 weeks, they had signs everywhere. This wasn't just meat or toilet paper. They had signs everywhere. Only to produce, only to dairy products, only to, canned goods. In other words, you couldn't get more than 2 of any one particular item. So if you want a can of green beans, you could only get 2. If you wanted, I don't know, it applied for a lot of different things. Which, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's probably a smart move if they're going to be low on things. Then my feeling is they probably are low on items, not so much because people are stocking up. But I think because maybe they're having trouble getting, certain products in. Wherever these, things are, maybe they don't have enough farmers in the field, that are picking the crops, harvesting the crops to begin with, or maybe there's not enough people, working in the, in the food factories where these things are, canned or whatever. But I think that's where the problem lies. I'm not sure. At any rate, I was able to get most of what I was looking for. My dog is still struggling. She has, I bought her 2 weeks worth of medicine because she was looking pretty bad here last week, and I didn't really think she'd make it through the week. But she's kind of gotten somewhat of a second wind going. But it's very limited what she can do. But she still eats every day. So I'm able to give her medicine, and she still, is able to go outside. And as long as she's able to do, most of those kind of things, then I think, we're okay. I've got a lot of bruising going on here. One of the things I take prednisone every day, and I take a little baby aspirin every day. And I'm told the prednisone has, this is something that you see with 80-year-old men, or I suppose women. They bruise real easily. And for me, it doesn't happen on my legs, but on my chest or my arms, is where I'm real susceptible to, my skin is real It's like paper. I mean, if I scratch myself, it's a big cut. It's, I'm going to have to get to my lung doctor at some point and discuss what we can do about all of this. But I know I've seen a dermatologist and he's given me some medications for other problems that I've had, eczema or whatever. But this is something that really bothers me. Anyway, so that's what's been going on with me. I got the new microphone. I've gone shopping. I have went to pick up my friend and spent a few hours with one of my friends. Now, that's what's been going on here. Here in Ohio, the numbers have been pretty steady as businesses are starting to open up a little bit. They're still being pretty cautious. I'll tell you, the thing that was truly disturbing about going to the grocery store yesterday, it just so happened maybe that during the time I was there was maybe about, I'm going to guess, maybe about a dozen other shoppers in the store. Now, I think in Ohio, the governor has made it a rule that anybody that's opened up for businesses, the employees themselves, have got to be wearing a mask. And of course, I am not about to go out without a mask on. So all of the, like the cashier, and I saw a few, stock boys or whatever that were out and about in the store, and all the employees. There was somebody that was putting meat out, from the meat department in the back. They all, were wearing masks. But I mean, the vast majority of the shoppers were not. And I, came within walking distance of one or two people that were not wearing a mask. And I was not, I wasn't happy to see that at all. And now I know today I had to take an item to the post office, and this is the first time I've been to the post office, since this has all begun. But there was no way around it. I had to go inside and have something sent. And at any rate, now while I was in there was only one other customer that eventually came in, and they were wearing a mask. And of course, the postal worker that was serving me was very polite. He was wearing a mask himself. So, and that's the way it should be. I don't get this whole thing, these people that are complaining about the masks and, and their civil rights and all this, and it's such nonsense. These fools, first of all, they have to wear seatbelts. I mean, if they, there's so many rules that we follow because of, for safety reasons. And, we don't complain about those rules. We don't complain that there are speed limits excuse me, I've got I hate the hiccups. So, and I've said it before, I mean, unless you've got an actual surgical mask or an N95 mask, you're, for the most part, wearing a mask isn't going to protect you too much from other people, but it is going to protect other people from you, particularly if you, stay a good, 6 or 10 feet away from them. Yeah, it's almost imperative that you need to be wearing a mask because, from all the evidence that I've seen, if you're not wearing a mask, just breathing, your droplets or whatever that come out of your mouth are going to travel within 30 seconds or so. They're going to travel well beyond 6 feet, to be honest with you. And if you cough, they're going to travel within, a good 12 feet, probably within 20 or 30 seconds easily. If you're wearing a mask, that is going to more or less limit both the volume and the distance that this spray from your mouth is going to go. So you're really protecting other people. And it seems to me that, it's the least we can do for others, particularly these people who are, reluctantly coming to work every day and exposing themselves to the risk that somebody's going to come in there, with this virus. And the very least that we can do is to wear, a decent mask. And there are places to buy them now. Early on, a couple of months ago, they were really hard to find. But, everybody and their uncle is making them now. And if you're really careful, if you look around, you can buy some pretty good quality ones that are not just cloth masks, but, actually do a little better job. I know there's an industrial supply store right here in town that I actually worked for them briefly many years ago. And they're good people. And they sell, everything you can imagine that like a machine shop or any industrial setting, store business might need. Sharpeners, tools, bits, tool and die things, you name it. And among the things that they sell typically are, cleaning supplies and, they sell the N95 masks typically. And now during what's going on, of course, most of their suppliers that furnish, the masks are not making them available at this time because they're reserving those for the medical people that need them, whether they be hospitals or clinics or nursing homes or whatever. So there's a limited number of vendors, and so they're limiting like how many masks you can buy. You can't buy like, dozens or hundreds of them. But I bought some N95 masks through them. I got 6 of them. They cost, I think, what did I pay? I think I paid $5 or $6 a piece for them, which I thought was a fair price considering. Now, I have a question, legitimate question of whether or not these are legitimate N95 masks because they're made in China and they are KN95 masks. But there is a lot of these fake, illegitimate masks that are being sold right now, and I asked them about that, and the only thing they could tell me is that to the best of their ability, they've kind of scoped them out and think that they are legitimate. I've got some other masks, like I said, that my brother had left me. Long ago, he had given me like a box, actually 2 boxes of masks, and they're not labeled as N95, but they're surgical masks, and they're labeled as antiviral masks. So I'm pretty well stocked, But I thought if I'm going to venture out, if I'm going to take that risk, I'm going to, I've got to worry about protecting myself as well as others, and so I tried to get an N95 mask as well. One of the things I was concerned about was, I've heard some people complain that, they can't breathe with a mask on. And, I'm dealing with my lung condition. I have, and I've been tested now a couple of times. My official lung function tests out at about 18.5% lung function, which means I have less than 20% of the lung capacity that a normal person, my age should have. And on a good day, I can wear the mask and walk through a store and complete that process and get back to my car. And I'm not going to say I'm not a little short of breath afterwards, but if I can do it, I'm pretty sure most people can. So anyway, that was my biggest, really disturbing, most upsetting, uh, realization during my outing at the grocery store. It wasn't the number of items that weren't available, and it was really the fact that so many people were walking around, without wearing a mask. And I mean, I can understand if you want to put yourself at risk. I mean, I guess you're entitled to do that. What I don't really think you are entitled to do, though, is to put other people at risk. Everybody that was walking around that store without a mask was putting all of the employees that work there every day, at risk. And frankly, they were putting me at risk, and everybody else that was there shopping that day. And so, I mean, I don't think I have to tell anybody that watches my channel, to use your head and, show some courtesy and some respect, some thoughtfulness, for other people. Regardless of how you may feel about your own risks, it's just not right to, to put other people's lives at risk. I don't believe that we have the right to do that, and it's such a simple thing to do. Well, anyway, that's it for today. I'm sorry, I actually meant to put this up a few days earlier, but I finally got around to doing it. I'm going to try to make a video at least once a week now, and hopefully the sound turns out to be worth what I paid for this. So anyway, I will see you all again real soon. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.